I can't wait to talk about this flag planting.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you're pro flag planting. It sounds like, but I'll give you my take and then I'll let you go run with it.
Go.
My thought process was simply this: that flag planting is stupid on somebody else's field. You won the game. You shut them the fuck up and you beat them, and you go and do flag planting, and it to me it takes away from your victory in that you look like you're trying to stick it to the other team. Now, if Michigan, I was rooting for Michigan. I like the fact that they run the ball and they don't have a quarterback somehow. And they're
by the way, I told you these rivalry games.
Oh yeah, they happen all over the place. So, at Syracuse was one of them, right? They beat Miami.
Yes.
So I think that my thought process is pretty simply like it's unnecessary. You won the game. I think coaches should. Now, I don't know if coaches are the answer to stop this anymore in the era where you're paying guys. That's the hard part about it. Like, you're trying to control guys that you're trying to keep happy. That's kind of hard. I don't know how you do that. I can't say that I have the answer to that. Although Sarkisian did it at Texas. He stopped them from flag planting.
Right.
Okay. So the other team, like if I was the other team, because I've been the guy on top and I've been the guy that have lost. I get it.
Yep.
You know, I didn't want to say on bottom because it sounds
weird.
So it's one of those things that I think that I would have fought back too. If I saw that it happen on my field, there's no doubt. So you know the response you're going to get. Now, when Baker Mayfield did it when he was in college, I think everyone was just shocked by it and they didn't really kind of wrap their head around it. But they now know. Everyone has social media. They also, every player in the world has watched when Terrell Owens spikes the ball on the Dallas Cowboys 50-yard line, and my man, and I happen to know him pretty well over the years from running camps, my man George Teague laid him out. I always told George Teague, even though I'm a Cowboys fan, you were.
I love it.
George Teague is the man. I said, as awesome as a player as you were, which he was, and you won. You had you beat Miami, who was the top dog back when he was at Alabama, and George Teague had the interception. I remember going to that game. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to root for, because I really didn't have anybody that was that interested. But when George Teague picked off the pass and stripped it, I was like, that guy is the man.
Beast. Right.
That dude is the man. So when he took out Terrell Owens, I was like, dude, like one of my favorite Cowboys. And luckily, I happen to have met him and have talked to him on the phone many times. I think he was a head coach in a high school at the time.
Okay.
And so he's the exact guy that I thought would have been the guy to make those kind of plays. Like even keeled, good dude, but energetic. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Yeah. You got to be that kind of guy in order to do that in those moments.
Yep. Like he is confident of himself that those things don't,
Yes.
Elite level of calm confidence. But but anyway, so
I like that. I like that little slogan there.
Confidence.
Elite level of quiet confidence.
Calm confidence, yeah,
bro.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that have that and do that really, 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 really well. It's funny because I would say, like, in my nature, I'm really not like that. Like, I'm not a calm confidence person. But I would say, like, if you test me in a fight, like, I'm calm because I know that I'm winning that fight. Like, I'm calm when someone tries to test me because I know that, like, this guy who's gonna fight me better be a dog because I know I'm a dog in a fight.
Yeah, I know. So, that's why I love you, man.
Yeah, but as far as like my personally, I don't think I'm necessarily a quiet confidence guy. Like, I don't think my personal life I'm really like that. I'm confident in myself, but I'm not like
confident.
Yeah, but I'm not a calmer confidence. So it's interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of my take. I think that it's bad for football, not necessarily the planting of the flag and the fighting back, but what comes of it nowadays, which is it's an automatic social media melee, and every guy wants to be on social media, so they don't want to be the guy in the back. And it's funny because one of the criticisms of Ryan Day now is, and kind of as a coach, I would have been the guy because I'm just fiery. I would have been in the mix trying to get them all back, but I get it because you are probably going to get clocked. And if that's not you, that may not be the place to be, right?
Right. It's might not. It's not the place.
These are 300-pound men who are huge, strong, tough, elite athletes moving around.
Pads, by the way. In pads,
hitting each other. Yeah. Punching each other, throwing each other, and you're a coach and you're in your 40s or 50, and you're like, you ain't moving them. So
and not in pads, by the way,
and not in pads, but it ends up looking crazy because he's standing back, and you see, and he's like, "What's going on?" It's almost like you don't know what's going on. Your players are fighting, and then he stands up for them, which I would do too as a coach. He stands up for them and says, "Hey, if someone play the," but it's funny because he wasn't in the mix of it, Like there were coaches I think it was, which coach was it? Napier maybe was in the mix of it. Florida State. I think he got right in the middle of that thing and was trying to I don't remember if he was trying to stop it or whatever or save their flag, but he was he jumped his instinct was to jump in. Right. I just think overall it's a bad look, and I think. If you're a casual fan, if you're not a guy who played the game, I think they love it. I think they think it's the greatest thing ever. They could say all they want. It's not good for football. They love it because they're going to watch the games.
You think the casual fan finds that okay?
I think the woman probably finds it appalling. Okay. Yeah, I think the casual guy, they're going to say this is bad for football, but they're going to keep watching it.
No doubt.
It's like those old hip hop videos where there was the fights and stuff. Now that stuff has worn people's welcome. Eventually people don't want to see it no more, right? Because remember those channels like World Star. World Star became that big. It's still big, right? Because people used to like to watch all these random fights and stuff. And but then there was a point where you're like, all right, this is out of hand.
Yeah,
people are trying to get so.
It's about humanity.
I think after this, during it, people enjoyed watching it in the sense of what the hell's going on? But if it happens every weekend, it's going to be very, very bad for football.
Agreed.
Now it's a rivalry game.
Aspect.
What's that?
I do agree with you in that aspect about it being
my take. I'll let you go.
Football. If you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Good. Because you're not entirely, but I mean, we might as well just hand out second place trophies to everybody now and feel sorry and sympathy for everybody. Not even empathy. I'm not talking about empathy. I'm talking about sympathy. Now we should just feel.
I don't have sympathy for them.
That's what it sounds like. Hold on. I let you go, man. I told you.
It's going to be a fight.
Let's go, man. Let's go. And I'm gonna put my flag in this computer and then ruin it and have to buy a new one. No, I won't do that. You got to be smart about what you do. No, but seriously though, I think, all honesty, Dave, I don't see anything wrong with it when it comes to the rivalry aspect, like Oklahoma against Texas or Ohio State, Michigan. Dude, if you don't want them to put a flag on your field, win the game. And then you can put a flag on your own field. Florida State always puts a flag on their field with the Chief. Always. You know what I'm saying? So it's in my opinion, I truly believe, dude, we play, think about how coaches coach their players to prepare for this game. And now they're supposed to emotionally turn this off when you're talking about 18 to 23-year-olds. We just won a huge game. And I said this last week on Thanksgiving Day. I said, man, this is a huge rivalry game. This is the only way that Michigan coach saved his job. So do you think he's really thinking about putting a flag on the field? Maybe he should. He's still.
I'm not saying he should have been thinking about it. I'm just saying going forward.
What? No doubt. But dude, we play an emotional, violent, full contact. They always compare it to war, which I think is a little bit obnoxious comparing it. But the preparation is in the camaraderie and the teamwork and the trusting your brotherhood, that kind of thing. I totally agree. Is I would imagine like the military, like you got to trust the dude right beside you to do their job. And if they don't do their job, and you do yours, you might lose that battle. And it's a battle.
Like planting the American flag after you take a hill.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When we went to the moon, what did we do as a country? We put the flag on the moon to state, hey, this is ours.
But no one owns the moon.
But hold on. But exactly. The players don't own the stadium. The university does. The taxpayers do. Like, I mean, come on. Let's keep it to college football. My point is this, though. Like, those rivalry trophies, when they go and grab the trophy from the other side, is that not as disrespectful as putting a flag in the middle? Like, I mean, they're literally taking the trophy from that team. I mean, it's just as disrespectful. Social media has killed all of this because this Gen Z population takes things way too personal. It's a bigger thing than just placing a flag in the middle of the field. Dude, what's his name? And I love that he did it. Golly, you said his name earlier. Baker Mayfield, who's supposedly the OG of doing this, he did it out of pure emotion. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything. It was just a huge win for them. And he's like, yo.
Do you think everybody else didn't plan this, though?
No, I'm not saying that.
I believe that on Baker. I believe that on Baker.
Yeah, I think some of these teams do. And I think that's a little immature. And I think it needs to be addressed. So I'm with you in that way.
Right.
In that respect, bro. I don't think it's a good thing, but I don't think it should be policed. Dude, where else in this world can you literally, truthfully, now I'm being dead ass serious about this, Dave. You could actually kill somebody on the field of play and not commit murder. And you will not get prosecuted because it was in the scheme of the game. Like our game of football, it's a different beast, man. It truly is like going to battle. And you could paralyze somebody, you could break a lot of bones, you could put them out of commission, you can do all these things, and you'll never get prosecuted. So when these kids get emotionally into this, now I don't think it should be planned, which a lot of these kids now find it funny and cute.
Oh, they do it as that is what they do it as.
Absolutely. And that's dumb, in my opinion. I don't think it should be in the game. Don't get me wrong. But I think emotions are so high at times, and coaches actually get caught up. Like a big victory for Michigan like this one, dude, the head coach and that coaching staff, they have families that they need to provide for. They understand how big this game is. So while they're hugging and doing all that stuff, they didn't realize that these kids had all this stuff planned. And yeah, you'd like to say you know everything about your team, but come on, dude, you got 120 kids. And it may be the last guy on the team that does it. And that's some bullshit, like real talk. And those guys don't need to be doing it. If anybody does it, it should be the fucking, and I'm passionate about it because I'm cursing now, but it should be the captain, the leader, like Baker did.
I saw guys that were injured planting flags. Injured players planting the flag.
Yeah, that's some dumb shit. They should get their ass whooped in the locker room. You know how we would do it at UConn. You do some dumb shit, you're going to go through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Remember that gauntlet they had on with Richie Connors and all those?
Yeah, oh yeah, those guys are crazy. Yep.
Dude, you do something dumb, you're going to go through that gauntlet. Russo, all those guys, man, they would knock your ass out in a heartbeat, and they would check you real quick. That's what needs to happen. It's not solely on the coaches. It's also on the players, the leaders of that team. Yo, we got to be better than this. And Sarkisian, I appreciate what he said in his press conference. I really do. I respect the hell out of that because he's going about it the right way. But at the end of the day, you don't think he went in that locker room and he probably addressed that for a quick second? Hey, we need to learn how to win. Just like you need to learn how to lose. I'll never forget Skip Holtz saying that to us. Now, once we became successful at UConn, you got to learn how to win as well as you have to understand how to lose. Like, you can't win like a loser. You got to be better than others in order to stay above others. And that's where I'm frustrated about this whole conversation. Players need to police their own locker room. Leaders on that team need to police themselves. And it's not.
How do you police guys that are there for 2 years and out? Transfer, right? NIL. That's how you police a guy that's making $500K and you're making $10K. Okay. I mean, how do you? Now in the NFL they do because there's levels of seniority. There's an actual, and you know this from playing arena. Like there are guys that are adults with kids that are like playing in the same locker room as young, wide-eyed 22-year-olds, right?
Yeah, so, you got 37-year-olds playing with 25-year-olds,
and they ain't tolerant certain things from certain people, right? So some guys are not going to deal with no bullshit, right? So, but in college you don't have that. College you don't have that, and now you have some guys that are there for less time, and some guys that are making more money, and you ain't telling me to do shit, which is part of the issue.
That's even more of a reason why they have to police their own locker rooms, bro. They need to. So what are you going to say? The head coach is solely responsible?
My solution is
trickles down.
I'll tell you my solution is what Stanford has come up with, and we'll see how it works. But Stanford has created the GM position in college to be above the whole football program, just like the NFL. And Andrew Luck is the GM now, okay? And he's going to be the GM. And obviously you take someone who's like Andrew Luck, like respectable, good suited, obviously an excellent pro in their case, so he's above the program, and his job is kind of like the overall, like basically like, for lack of a better word, he's the CEO of football, right? Gotcha. So he's the CEO of football, right? He's not coaching or anything like that. He's the CEO of football. And you get a guy like that who says, hey, head coach X, this is what we expect in a program. This is the type of players we want to have in a program. This is the kind of character we expect. And he's kind of that intermediary between the AD and the president and the head coach, right? And that person, just like the NFL, right? And you have that. And by the way, Andrew Luck would be the fall guy too if the program fails in some of those areas. No doubt, just like the NFL. He'll be, if they don't win, if he brings on the wrong guys, if he's got guys acting a fool, he'll be held accountable for those reasons. But the coach can kind of more coach. Like, I think for a coach nowadays, not in the old days, because I looked it up, Baker Mayfield, he's an innovator. He was the first guy to do it. So in all these years of football, the only recorded case of a guy actually flag planting on the opposite team, I'm sure it happened, but I'm saying the only one recorded is Baker Mayfield doing it in 2017, right? And Baker Mayfield, by the way, said to the people who are complaining about it, take the L and move on. So Baker Mayfield's in your camp of these kind of things. But I do think that person will allow the coach to focus on the team stuff, the football stuff. Yes. And there's so many things the head coach has to do now, including right now the GM is like below the head coaches in most of these places, which means that I'm the GM, I'm in charge of player personnel, but I report to the head coach. It's kind of like odd relationship. So basically, the head coach just takes on more responsibility. Like, I know they're getting paid the most, but they're just taking on extra, more and more responsibility. So as you're piling all these things on them, they have to hire more and more people to handle all these things. You're asking the head coach to also be a CEO. Like, I just don't see that. I personally, in the old days,
I think you bring up a great point.
Yeah,
I really do.
I don't see that in the long run. Like, there are guys that could do it. Nick Saban could do it. There's a few guys that could do it. Okay. But in the long run, you really don't want them to have to do it, because
you want them to focus on winning the game.
Right. It takes away from them winning the game, getting their players better, building relationships, recruiting, right? And obviously the GM helps you with recruiting. So that's it starts to take away from all those kind of things. And you now in today's game, you really need a basically you're trying to mass manufacture Nick Saban's. Like, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if you're gonna. I mean, maybe the guy at Oregon's like that. He seems, but he's also from that same tree. He was under Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is kind of like that, although Kirby Smart is like that, but he's also wild too. So, like, if you watch him on the sideline, I'm like, how does that guy get from that side of the sideline all the way over to this side of the sideline?
I know that would be you. 100%. That would be you. Like, where'd he go?
He's up and down. Like he's like, how did he move that fast? He probably can't even run anymore. He's
in absolutely. 2 seconds.
But
absolutely.
But there's not many guys. I think in the long run, if you want these teams to win, especially all the money you're putting into it, they're billion-dollar industries. You're paying players. You don't want the guy who wants an extra $100,000 to have to sit there with Kirby Smart every time they want more money. Like, that's going to piss head coaches off. I mean, Mac Brown said it, like, when he got fired or whatever, he said it, this game is really not the game that he got back into it for, is not the game anymore.
Right.
And yes, he's older, but he makes a really good point in the sense that I can't really, run my program the way I want to, because a lot of things are out of my control. And those things that are out of the head coach's control are very hard for a head coach to control has to go to somebody, because you can't ask them to coach. I mean, it's just not possible, in my opinion.
Not feasible. It definitely isn't. I completely agree with you. And don't get me wrong, like, my camp that I'm in, I don't mind seeing raw emotion.
Yes.
And I am okay with planting the flag if that is like the team leader on your home field. Cool, do it. But I don't think there's a place for it on an away field. But I also have a feeling of, part of me says, it's competition, bro. Unless you've been
in the competition
room,
over? Isn't it over once the game ends?
No,
isn't the competition
right.
over? This is my
right.
Isn't the competition over? Like, so we won, we celebrate. Isn't the competition over? And I'm going to bring it back down to, like, the root where I see this being a big issue. I'm hanging around with dads who coach in flag football or tackle football, and they all think at the end of the game that we got to fight and we got to argue and we got to, like, I don't like the way you talk to me, or you or blah, blah, blah. Like, how about this? Shut the fuck up. You lost. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. You won. Go celebrate with your team. That's the way I look at it.
That's exactly right. Celebrate with your team.
That's the way I look at it.
I totally agree.
When you plant the flag you want to do it at your home team, I don't care if you do it at your home. Okay, it's home. You do it at an away team. You're telling this is how I look at it. Right. You're telling the other team, I would like to fight you again.
What? But that's how you interpret that.
No, okay. I would interpret that shit as the losing person. 100% you want to fight me. So let's fucking go. You want to fight me? Let's fight. Okay, so the game's over. So now we want to also fight. Okay, cool. So let's fight. Let's see who the best fighter is. All right?
No, it's not about that. It's
you plant that flag,
game,
that's what you're saying.
I understand what you're saying.
Like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield can say that shit all he wants. Okay, I planted that flag. Yeah, you take that loss. Let me tell you something. If LeVar Arrington was playing football at the same time when he was at Penn State, and Baker Mayfield planted that flag in front of LeVar Arrington would have knocked him the fuck out, and Baker Mayfield wouldn't be planting no shit in anywhere ever again in his life because he'd be in the hospital. Okay, so that's how I look at it. Because these dudes also, they don't fight either, by the way. They just push each other, okay, and they grab each other and they wrestle each other like fake wrestling. Like if you did this in the fucking 90s or 2000s, early 2000s, I'm just telling you the way I look at it. You plant that flag in front of LeVar Arrington, and he would have put you in the hospital.
So here's the other thing that these young men need to understand. Okay, and if I were a coach, this is one of the perspectives, because everybody wants money, right?
Sure.
Money is the ultimate goal of these players. That's why a lot of them go to college. They don't go to learn or get educated.
Right.
Sorry, that's
unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, like that's the reality of it, and it's a sick reality. But everybody wants that fast money. Everybody wants that quick money. Everybody wants to. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Even though football definitely is the ultimate team sport. Hockey's there, it's up there, and it's a rough sport. I mean, hell, they allow fighting in hockey. They're even cutting down on that because of the violence. But where I'm trying to go is, and I hope I can explain it, is, look, if you win, you deserve the right to celebrate your win. And I agree with you as far as celebrating your win with your team, however that may be. Now, this is where I'm going back to the leaders of the locker room. They need to say, hey, no, we're not going to do that. We can plan it on our sideline if we want to plan it. But I don't think we need to. We're taking so much out of just playing this game now.
I think that might be too much to expect from
I agree. I'm
not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure.
But the problem is 90 to 95% of the culture of America, of the world, has not experienced a locker room experience at that high emotional level.
Right.
So you get these kids that they don't understand how you need to act accordingly. And that's why I do respect Sarkisian's response to all this stuff. And that's not his way of doing it.
But I think he's right. Now, I don't think these other coaches knew it was going to happen. I mean, I think they were shocked. I think even in Michigan, I think all the coaches were not probably expecting. Like, I don't think they said, "All right, after we win, somebody grab the flag and plant it on the outside."
Like that was That's not like when we go into the locker room. I know. Remember at UConn, we'd all go in the locker room. I'm sure a lot of football teams do this. You go and sing the fight song.
Right.
And that right there is disrespectful enough, because a lot of the locker rooms, you can hear sometimes the other team celebrating. And you know what I mean? But it's you celebrating you. It's not me celebrating